What's up, guys? It's Cam with HawksNestGaming. I'm here with my boy Aidan Collins, who wrapped up yesterday's Atlanta Regional going 7-2, finishing top 16 with...
This is Mathmech we're looking at today.
Now, Aidan, what made you decide to pick Mathmech?
So, with the Bystials out of the format and the Shufflers out of tier limit gone, this deck is really, really powerful, along with other strategies like Marincess and Dark World. But this is just the deck I was most familiar with, so this is what I took.
So we, Aidan and I went out to YCS Vegas last weekend. Took two teams out there, and he was on Branded. And after the YCS, I looked at him and was like, bro, just play your game. Play your game.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was 9 draws of Swiss with 428 players.
Ugh.
What
a grind on a
Sunday. It was a slog.
What a grind on a Sunday. Oh, all right, brother. Without further ado, let's jump into this thing.
Alrighty. So, starting us off, we've got Circular. This card is a 1-card combo. It starts everything. You know, it is entirely what the archetype needed out of Pote. I cannot stress enough how important this card is. But, you know, it is just Circular.
So good. Special summon, send one for cost.
For cost.
And special summon and just do fantastic things. Oh,
fantastic.
Love it.
So we've got 2 Sigma. Some lists run 1, I run 2, because if Kashtira finds this in your face-down banished pile, they're going to have a field day.
Yep.
This card is one of the best forms of extension you have going into turn 3. You know, having your opponents waste interruption on this when you have like 3 other extensions in hand is the best feeling. So yeah, we're running 2 of this. I think it's more correct this way.
I concur.
We're running 3 diameter. In a format where Nib is this prominent, seeing diameter in most of your hands is a blessing. What you want to be able to do is activate Signet, pitch another Cyverse name, then normal summon diameter so we can get a negate up as fast as possible.
Oh, amen.
Even in a hand without a searcher, we can still normal summon diameter with no effect and activate addition, subtraction. As long as it's not Sigma and it gets us to Alan Bershin, it's fine. Speaking of, we do have 3 of both addition and subtraction.
I'm so glad you run 3 of each extender because some people were like, no, just 2. I'm like, why?
I really like making access code and killing my opponent.
It's so free.
Yeah, these cards are just, they either ensure that your opponent's monsters are weak enough to be able to make sure that you have lethal with whatever strategy you choose, or ensure that your monsters are big enough, or just make more bodies on the field. Because, oh no, you're locked into Cyverse. That sounds terrible.
And they're not terrible to normal summon and special summon off another one if you have to. It's just, I mean, you don't want to.
Ooh,
but
don't catch me normal summoning addition.
It's happened. It's happened.
So we are running Nabla and Multiplication. Yeah, these cards are getting cut. These cards were mostly being cited out going into game 2 and 3 almost immediately. The only time where Nabla and normal summon would be really, really good to do is if your opponent Book of Eclipses you exactly on the summon of Sigma. We're running 1 equation.
Let's clean up the monsters and we'll go into the spells. So that's the Mathmech monster lineup, right?
Yeah, this is it. This is what
so we're thinking we're gonna cut these guys.
Yeah, this and one other card later is gonna be an extra set of hand traps.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
And yeah.
All right, cool. That's beautiful. I love Cyberse.
Okay, so going on to spells, we've got 1 equation.
Okay.
Monster Reborn is pretty good this format, especially when you're...
Searchable Monster Reborn.
Searchable Monster Reborn. And, you know, it makes your lines to access code much cleaner. You can, you know, Reborn off Splash Mage, then just pop down equation, make an update jammer, do your thing. We've got 3 copies of Small World. This card gives you access to every single other card in the deck.
This card literally says I play 9 copies of Circular, right?
Yeah.
This card and the next one, I'm sure coming down.
Yeah.
Or any like, how often did you search cards other than Circular with Small World?
So it's pretty funny. If you go any Mathmech extender into Lava Golem into, you can search Ash to beat Branded Fusion.
Right.
Going second, you can go, like if you open 2 Ashes, that just means you either have A, another extender, or B, Lava Golem, which I hear is pretty good this format.
So does Cash.
Yeah. Being able to, this deck needs all of its zones, so the ability to be able to have access to Lava Golem is imperative to winning the game. Like if you go, even without your normal, this deck has a pretty clear line to access code update. You know, Lava Golem into Subtraction into Circular feels amazing.
Cool.
You know, but
so
here are the
lots of
searchers.
times they came up.
Yes.
Got it.
So we're running 1 Called By and 2 Triple Tactics Talent. Talent felt really good this weekend. Being able to take like an Arise Heart and be able to banish my opponent's follow-up in the form of Birth, or being able to steal even like one of the Labyrinth monsters to be able to make sure that they couldn't recur off of it, was extremely imperative. Being able to draw 2 when you get interrupted also came up multiple times. And Called By is just...
Called By.
It's just Called By. You know, it's here to beat Ash, it's here to beat Ghost Spell on my Super Factorial. It's here to just ruin someone's day because you've drawn it, and of course you've drawn it. But those are the spells.
Getting sacked by Called By is fun, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many times. Oh well. If you have it, you have it.
It feels bad.
All right, cool. I like that. Yeah. Did you use talents a lot?
Yes.
I bet you stole lots of Arise Hearts, huh?
Yeah, there were a couple times.
Oh man, I tell you.
So yeah, the only engine trap we're running is Super Factorial. This card is so good. It's really good.
This is the best card in the deck, if you want my opinion. Well, Circular is the best card in the deck, but this is what makes. Look, I don't care, right? Lava Gull on the board, fine, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Fine.
Go ahead and book my monsters. I'm still gonna rip however many I can and have an Omnigate, right?
Yeah. Loblation is one hell of a card, and being able to have instant access to him is insane.
Amazing.
It's insane. He represents so much interruption. It's so good. So there it is, the Super Factorial. Moving on, we've got the Infraflyer for a small world. The Infraflyer for a small world target.
Okay.
You know, he's not terrible to draw in the hand. He just represents another extender, which the deck loves. We're also on 3 Parallel Exceed. Parallel came up a lot. I saw myself drawing this card a lot. We're on 3 of them. Mainly because, you know, I just like the extra extension. I think it feels really nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
But when you draw 2 of these guys and you set it at 1, it is... Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, that's what happened? You would draw 2 and you sat it up the 3rd?
Yes.
Oh,
it happened
no.
3 times. It happened 3 times. But yeah, that's sort of the miscellaneous monster stuff.
I like that.
Parallel gets you through Small World to any Mathmech name, so does Infraflyer. You know, this card is also a level 8, so it can get you in the deck to Lava Golem. Either through a Mathmech name to Parallel Exceed to Lava Golem, or you can go Addition, Subtraction into Ash into Lava Golem. This deck has a lot of lines to be able to disrupt your opponent's turn, going first or second. You know, this card is a very good small world target.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It's
level 8. Yeah, that's pretty
really,
huge.
really nice. So hand trap wise, we're running 3 Infinite Impermanences, 3 Ash, and 3 Nibiru. I like the extra extension the deck can have access to, so I went pretty light on the hand traps. Imperm is, I think, really good this format. Being able to stop key components of like Sprite with Sprint and Gigantic,
right?
Or even stopping, you know, Imperming Aliber doesn't seem like the best thing to do, which is also why we're on the Ash.
Right.
Ashing Brand Fusion feels like an FTK. And nibbing half the cards in the format feels like you've just won the duel. It's it's insanely powerful how strong Nibiru is. Going first or second, you have to respect that your opponent might have Nibiru in their hand.
For sure.
Might have Nibiru in their hand.
That's why Diameter's so busted.
That's why Diameter's so good. You get 1 free negate. You just get 1. You know, and I will say, Laplationing to get a Nibiru out of hand feels very good. Feels very good. Speaking of, let's move on to the extra deck here.
Right on.
We've wasted enough time. So, look, I love Final Sigma.
The theme of the deck, right?
I love Final Sigma.
It looks so cool.
It's a really
big,
pretty
bad
card.
boy.
But
there's the butt, though.
Yeah. This card does not do piercing damage, unfortunately. So any card that is ever in defense position ever just beats this card. Yeah, it's getting cut. It's probably getting cut for like the second access code or second Laplation, if I decide to run a second superfactorial. Most of the time, games don't last so long for me to run a second superfactorial, so this card would more than likely be a second access code.
Yeah. I think that's correct.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
So
you can still play it for fun sometimes.
Probably. Good for locals. So here are the bread and butter of the deck, the 2 Xyz monsters. Laplation is just Trishula on steroids, and Alan
Look at you with
Bershin.
a secret.
Yeah,
Look at you go.
Yeah, and Alan Bershin searches almost any card in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Literally, right?
Well, it's any level 4 monster or any spell trap made with 4 materials.
What's that say right there? Add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. You can add Judgment if you really want to.
You can get
Or,
Skill Drain.
Or what we did in Pod format is add Epidemic Virus to be able to meet tier limit.
When they let Imperial Order be illegal for a short time, I searched Imperial Order.
Yeah, I mean, why not? We're not activating spells. We have Diameter in hand. Who cares?
Yep.
Yeah, Laplation's protection effect. Not a whole lot of people know about it, just because the sheer amount of text on both these cards is staggering.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
But, you know, it came up more than once where I got Raigeki'd when my monsters didn't have the protection of Wicked, and I just detached the material, and everything was fine. Yeah, and Alan Bershin gets you access to Circular, Diameter, and Extension, your Trap if you have enough gas in hand. It gets you to...
My favorite part of this says 2+ level 4 monsters. And so one anything and parallel turns into this, and your whole engine's live. It's amazing.
Yeah, having, normal summoning Diameter, making Lingaribo, and then special summoning 2 parallel puts your opponent on have imperm or don't. It's a pretty fun game.
Even with Lingaribo, you can be like, no imperm. Tribute to Lingaribo.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's have Ash or don't, I suppose.
It's so good.
All
right. So, what'd you think about 1? You think you'd run 2 later, or gonna play with it?
I'm gonna play with it. I think I'd rather have the 2 access code purely into the cash matchup. Unicorn just destroys this deck's attempt at lethal in any way, shape, or form. So I think having 2 of access code is just wildly more important.
Right.
There they are. Alrighty, speaking of him, we're running access code, and we're also running Appaloosa. Appaloosa is, one of the components of your main board. You link off for her using 3 materials, and you've got the set Superfactorial to be able to protect her during the battle phase, so you, most of the time, get all of her negates, and your opponent has to play through Appaloosa, and Superfactorial is 4 points of interruption? Or, no, I'm sorry, 7 points of interruption.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and access code, paired with Update Jammer is just lethal. It's you're popping everything on the field.
And you're gonna have at least 4 targets to vanish.
Yeah, you have a lot. You have a lot.
I mean, even like the lowest line.
Yeah.
So.
It's 2 or 3 at the lowest. Splash, update, link.
Well, yeah, I guess you don't have any. Well, a Link Disciple's a light. So, and then the dark.
Well, I'm saying Lingaribo. It's dark.
I was thinking.
Like, you're just not making Link Disciple going second, right?
No, it depends on what you got. Depends on how many monsters you got to clear.
All right. So Link 3s, we've got Transcode and Heat Soul. Heat Soul is the backup plan. He can draw you into an extender, the trap sometimes. It's a one of, so you're probably not going to, but hey, it's worth a shot. And transcode, is A, another attribute for access code, and B, more attack points if that is viable. He also plays really well if you have to play under the impression that your opponent has a set imperm. So you summon him with update, or through an update jammer line, and you're able to make him under the one link arrow that Lingaribo has. And he makes a lot of lines to access code much, much easier.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, here are the link twos. These cards are possibly, the runner-ups and the most important cards in the extra deck. IP gets you to your final end board, which is Appaloosa. Cyber's Wicked protects all the cards underneath it, i.e. IP. Splash Mage makes your line to access code insanely good, as well as summoning back another material to make Update Jammer. It's a shame that Update Jammer's main effect never comes up, because the only thing that matters is that access code can attack twice. And playing under Nibiru, you're never really making the full line of Splash, Update, and then making Transcode to make Update again, because there's just too many summons. It's a lot. It's a lot. So mainly you're just summoning, the two guys like this, and then you're just making access code and winning the game.
Yep. 4,300 access to swing twice.
I mean, your opponent's not more dead if you make the 53, So here are the link ones. Lingaribo, very important to the Labyrinth matchup. Be able to negate like Terrors of the Underroot to get your Diameter online, to negate another spell trap. And Disciple and Devotee are so important at getting to the required materials to make the Wicked, IP, and another body line to be able to make the 3-mat Appaloosa. These cards are just as important as everything else. But yeah, I would definitely consider running the second access code. Would definitely consider maybe running the second Laplation. It requires more testing. I'm not really sure where this deck stands as of this format, but apparently very well.
Did pretty good.
It did pretty okay. It did pretty okay. So here's the side deck. We're running 3 Book of Eclipse. This card going second as well as going first is just as important as anything else. Be able to stop Kashtira in its track by flipping down everything. XC strategies are just not very good right now, especially in Link strategies are just not very good this format, with this card in the format. This card is insane. Branded is very happy this card is in the format. They do not care if their cards are face down, face up, upside down, reversed. They're still fusion summoning with them. So yeah, this card came up in all of my cash matchups. In my Exosister matchup, this card was insanely free. But yeah, this card in this strategy specifically is just as good going first as it is going second. Speaking of going second cards though, we do have 3 Lava Golem on the side. If I could change anything, I would main at least one of these guys. This card is not only a great bridge for Small World, being able to pair up with Parallel Exceed and Ash, but it's also just insane. It wins time, it wins in time, it wins just by being able to disable your opponent's entire board. Evenly Matched is also in our side deck. This card wasn't very live. I don't really remember drawing it all that much except for my final round. But this deck is really, really able to use Evenly Matched to a really good degree. You would think OTK.deck is, gonna miss its battle phase, but not really. You just make your turn 1 board with Heat Soul instead because you have the extra cards. We're also on 3-Dimensional Barrier. This card...
I hear that's a good card this format.
It's pretty good, but I may cut it. That sounds weird, right? You're like, oh my, this deck's, that card's insane.
I'm actually not playing it either.
So, it's terrible into Kashtira. Specifically for this deck, because your main interruption is Laplation, you can't call Xyz immediately. So, you have to be able to use Laplation, be able to clear most of their board, and then on the crackback be able to go, oh, also D-Barrier. You know, but you have to let them get away with some of their cards to an extent, and they're still ending on Unicorn, Fenrir, and still banishing a guy face down. It doesn't feel good to run this card as it stands. It might still be worth it to play this card versus Branded, and versus something like Drytron, which is back in the format now, which did perform very well at this event as well. So, requires more testing, but as it stands, this card is easily the most cuttable card in the side deck.
Nuts.
And also, we have 3 copies of Twin Twister.
Gotta respect back row.
You have to. Cyber's cards don't represent a lot on the field on their floodgates, such as Skill Drain, Tikaboo. They just don't represent a lot. Because they're small stat line, they're small guys, and they really like to be made into extra deck cards. So being able to out these important floodgates, or the Welcome Labyrinth cards, or just any back row in the history of mankind.
So, any changes you'd make? You said maybe taking the D-Barrier out of the sideboard.
Yeah, I'd probably take out D-Barrier. I'm not sure.
What do you think, like anti-spell or something?
No, because you like your spell card as much as you do going first as you going into turn 3. This card might turn into Lancia, because Lancia is also findable off of Small World. You can add back follow-up in the form of Diameter. You can go Diameter, Nibiru into Lancia.
Yep. Or actually, any air lights.
Any light does it. That really sucks.
Oh yeah, if you don't draw the answer to a Rise Heart, I don't know. It's kind of tough.
It's
kind of tough out of the gate.
Yeah, which is why Triple Attack was in the main, because seeing that card and be able to take it to make something like IP out the gate is insane. It's insane.
Well, awesome stuff, man. Appreciate you showing that out. And again, this is Aidan Collins with his top 16 Mathmech deck profile. Any shout outs for you, Aidan?
Shout out to my friend Joey, Logan, Drew, all the guys that were with me at that event, and Drew, who got me back my deck box after I left it in the venue.
What a giver.
Yeah, but
awesome.
Yeah, had a great time this weekend.
All right, Aidan. Well, thanks again, buddy. This is Cam at Hawks Nest. Y'all take care and be safe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Later.